In operant conditioning, Thorndike was the first American researcher to develop the theory of human learning, and it was based on experimentation. He hypothesized that all learning initially involves trial and error. The law of effect means if behavior is followed by a satisfying change in the environment, the probability of that behavior being repeated in a similar situation is very high. Watson, another theorist of operant conditioning, is the founder of behaviorism. His study, Little Albert, was a groundbreaking study in that that's where we understood that fear could be generalized. Watson was also the first to acknowledge that human emotions could be classically conditioned. Skinner expanded on the work of Watson, and his type of conditioning was type R, which states that the strength of conditioning is shown by the frequency of the responding. So the more someone responds in doing a behavior, means that the more someone responds to conditioning is based on the amount of times that they perform the behavior. Skinner also said that respondent behavior, which is elicited by unknown stimuli, and operant behavior, not clearly related to the stimulus, were governed by two general principles. The first is response is followed by a reinforcer. That's repeated. The second is that a reinforcer is anything that increases the likelihood of the behavior occurring again. There's 5 different types of reinforcers: positive, negative, primary, secondary, and generalized reinforcers. There's 2 variables that determine how a reinforcer will be given. The first is a schedule of reinforcement. That's really how the reinforcement will be presented, and it's continuous or intermittent. The second are categories of reinforcement. So that's when will the reinforcer be presented to the person that you would like to perform a certain behavior. And those types are a ratio, which can be broken down into either a fixed ratio or a variable ratio. And the next is an interval ratio, an interval which has fixed intervals or a variable interval. The schedules of reinforcement of how is continuous or intermittent. Now, punishment is also something that we use to change or elicit wanted behavior or unwanted behavior. And punishment reduces the likelihood of unwanted behavior occurring again. It does not teach desired behavior. The positive type of punishment is when you add something negative. A negative punishment is when you remove something desirable. When a child is not given a corrective feedback, that's a negative side of punishment. You want children, when punished, to learn from their behavior that's unwanted. And a negative side effect is when they don't learn from what they've done and they continue to do the behavior that we don't want. A second negative side effect of punishment is that the child is shown that might makes right, meaning that bigger, stronger, more powerful people have control over you, or that the more powerful you are, the more you can dominate another person. And that's a negative side effect of punishment because we don't want children to believe that the bigger, stronger person always wins. Another negative side effect of punishment is that it often makes children angry and can generate various kinds of aggression or subtle or covert in a subtle or covert nature from a child. So they may not directly be outwardly angry, but they may do little things to get back at you. Like, for example, hide your things as a parent, or as a teacher, they may hide things in the classroom to get back at you or pay you back for being punished. A fourth negative side effect of punishment is that it often generates undesirable side effects in the person giving a punishment. People don't feel great when they have to punish a child, but it's something that we have to do at times if we want to change the behavior and get the child to do something. We want them to stop something or get them to do something we would prefer them to do. The fifth negative side effect of punishment is that the punished child often develops fear and avoidance for the person giving out the punishment and or the setting associated with the punishment. So if they get in trouble a lot at school, kids won't want to go back to school. So environment plays a huge part in how children respond to punishment. And sometimes for some kids, a negative side effect is that they don't want to go back to places where they've been told no or they've been punished.